Olivia Carter was 24 years old, earning an average salary and living in a small apartment. Every payday seemed to disappear into rent, groceries, and bills. One evening, while reviewing her finances, she made a decision that would quietly reshape her future. She would save her first $5,000, no matter how long it took. Instead of buying a newer car or taking expensive vacations, Olivia tracked every expense. She packed homemade lunches, canceled unused subscriptions, and worked occasional weekend shifts. Friends questioned why she was sacrificing so much, but she kept her eyes fixed on a goal no one else could yet see. After months of disciplined saving, Olivia finally reached $5,000. The number wasn't life-changing on its own, but it represented something far more valuable: proof that consistent habits could produce meaningful progress. For the first time, she believed financial freedom might actually be possible. Rather than leaving her savings untouched, Olivia immersed herself in books about personal finance, rental properties, and long-term investing. Every evening after work became a classroom. She highlighted pages, took detailed notes, and gradually replaced fear with knowledge, understanding that education could reduce costly mistakes. One Saturday, Olivia attended a local real estate investment meetup. She expected polished millionaires, but instead met ordinary people who had slowly built wealth through rental properties. Listening to their stories convinced her that successful investing wasn't reserved for the wealthy. It was built through patience and disciplined action. Inspired by what she learned, Olivia began touring affordable properties every weekend. Most needed repairs, and many investors ignored them. While others focused on appearances, she practiced seeing possibilities hidden beneath outdated paint, worn flooring, and neglected landscaping, training herself to recognize value where others saw problems. Months later, Olivia discovered a small duplex in an older neighborhood. The building looked tired, with peeling paint, overgrown bushes, and cracked sidewalks. Yet the structure was solid, the location showed promise, and the numbers made sense. She believed this modest property could become her first opportunity. Applying for financing felt intimidating. Olivia carefully organized her savings records, employment history, and financial documents before meeting with a lender. Every signature carried responsibility, but she reminded herself that calculated risks often separate those who dream from those who steadily build a better future. Closing day finally arrived. Olivia received the keys to her first duplex with equal parts excitement and nervousness. Standing on the front porch, she realized ownership also meant responsibility. There would be repairs, unexpected expenses, and difficult decisions, but also opportunities that renting could never provide. That evening, Olivia stood alone inside the empty duplex. Sunlight streamed through dusty windows, while silence filled each room. Holding the brass keys tightly, she smiled quietly. She hadn't become wealthy overnight. She had simply taken the first step. And sometimes, that's the step that changes everything. The next morning, Olivia arrived wearing old jeans, work gloves, and determined optimism. Armed with paint rollers, cleaning supplies, and a simple repair checklist, she tackled one room at a time. Every brushstroke reminded her that wealth wasn't built by wishing. It was built through consistent effort and countless ordinary actions. The first weeks tested her resolve. A leaking faucet became damaged plumbing. Old carpet revealed uneven flooring beneath. Repair costs exceeded her original estimates. Instead of becoming discouraged, Olivia adjusted her budget, learned new skills, and reminded herself that every challenge improved both the property and her confidence. After work each evening, Olivia drove straight to the duplex. While neighbors relaxed at home, she painted walls, installed light fixtures, repaired cabinets, and cleaned every corner. Long days often ended after midnight, but each completed project brought the duplex closer to becoming a welcoming home for future tenants. Slowly, the transformation became visible. Fresh paint brightened every room. New flooring replaced worn carpet. Updated lighting filled the home with warmth. Outside, trimmed hedges and colorful flowers restored curb appeal. What once looked forgotten now reflected care, pride, and the beginning of a promising investment. With renovations complete, Olivia photographed the duplex and created her first rental listing. She carefully described every improvement, hoping to attract responsible tenants. Pressing the "Publish" button felt surprisingly emotional. Months of savings, hard work, and perseverance were finally being offered to the market. Within days, prospective tenants began scheduling viewings. Olivia welcomed each visitor with professionalism, answering questions honestly while carefully observing how they treated the property. She quickly realized that choosing the right tenant mattered just as much as choosing the right investment. After reviewing applications, Olivia selected a young teacher and a healthcare worker with strong references and stable employment. Watching them happily move into their new home filled her with quiet satisfaction. She wasn't simply collecting rent, she was providing a safe, comfortable place for people to build their lives. When the first rent payment arrived, Olivia smiled, not because she suddenly felt rich, but because the investment was working exactly as planned. Instead of spending the extra income, she deposited it into a separate account labeled Next Property Fund. Her journey had only just begun. Over the following months, Olivia carefully tracked every dollar of rental income and every maintenance expense. She learned that successful investing wasn't about avoiding problems, it was about preparing for them. Good records, careful planning, and financial discipline became habits she practiced every single day. One evening, Olivia updated a small chart hanging above her desk. Her savings were growing again, this time faster than before because her investment was helping fund the next opportunity. She smiled at the numbers and whispered to herself, "One property can become many if I stay patient." Months turned into a year, and Olivia's confidence steadily grew. The duplex generated reliable rental income, maintenance costs remained under control, and her savings account continued to grow. Every financial report confirmed the same lesson. Consistency, not speed, was quietly becoming her greatest competitive advantage. Rather than rushing into another purchase, Olivia spent weekends researching neighborhoods, population growth, school districts, employment trends, and property values. She learned that successful investors didn't simply buy buildings. They invested in communities with strong long-term potential and stable economic foundations. During one property tour, Olivia found a neglected 4-unit apartment building tucked away on a quiet street. Broken fences, faded paint, and empty flower beds discouraged many buyers. Instead of seeing problems, Olivia imagined renovated apartments filled with happy families and dependable rental income. Before making an offer, Olivia carefully analyzed every expense. She estimated renovation costs, future rental income, vacancy risks, insurance premiums, property taxes, and maintenance reserves. Every number had to make sense. Excitement never replaced careful calculations, because disciplined investing always came before emotional decisions. Negotiations lasted several weeks. The seller rejected her first offer, then countered with a higher price. Olivia remained patient, refusing to overpay simply because she liked the property. Eventually, both sides reached an agreement that benefited everyone, proving that patience often creates better opportunities than pressure. The closing process felt familiar this time, but the responsibility was much greater. Owning 4 apartments meant more tenants, larger repairs, and increased financial obligations. As Olivia accepted the keys, she realized she wasn't simply buying another property. She was expanding an entire business built on trust and responsibility. Renovations began immediately. Electricians upgraded outdated wiring, plumbers replaced aging pipes, painters refreshed every apartment, and landscapers transformed the neglected exterior. Olivia worked alongside contractors whenever possible, learning new skills while carefully monitoring every dollar spent. Each improvement increased both the property's value and its future potential. Within a few months, all 4 apartments were fully renovated. Bright interiors, modern kitchens, clean hallways, and attractive landscaping completely transformed the building. What had once appeared forgotten now looked welcoming and vibrant. Local residents even commented on how much the neighborhood had improved because of the renovation. As new tenants moved in, Olivia focused on building positive relationships rather than simply collecting rent. She responded quickly to maintenance requests, communicated honestly, and treated every resident with respect. Happy tenants stayed longer, took better care of their homes, and helped create a stronger community. At the end of the year, Olivia reviewed her growing portfolio. Her duplex and 4-unit apartment building were both performing well, generating steady cash flow while increasing in value. Looking at the numbers, she smiled quietly. $5,000 had become far more than savings. It had become the foundation of an entirely new future. Olivia resisted the temptation to celebrate too early. Instead of increasing her lifestyle, she reinvested nearly every dollar of profit back into her growing business. Friends upgraded their cars and homes, but Olivia upgraded her investments. She understood that short-term sacrifice could create opportunities that most people never experienced. As her portfolio expanded, Olivia realized she couldn't do everything alone. She hired a trusted property manager to assist with tenant communication, maintenance scheduling, and routine inspections. Delegating responsibilities allowed her to focus on finding better investment opportunities while maintaining excellent service for every resident. One unexpected winter storm tested her systems. Frozen pipes burst in 2 apartments overnight, causing expensive water damage. Instead of panicking, Olivia followed the emergency plan she had prepared months earlier. Contractors responded quickly, repairs began immediately, and the experience reinforced the importance of planning before problems arise. With every challenge came a valuable lesson. Olivia created detailed maintenance schedules, built larger emergency reserves, and strengthened relationships with reliable contractors. She discovered that successful investors weren't those who avoided problems. They were the ones who solved them efficiently while protecting both their tenants and investments. During a regional real estate conference, Olivia met experienced apartment investors who owned dozens of multifamily buildings. Instead of asking how they became wealthy, she asked about their biggest mistakes. Their honest stories about failures, vacancies, and difficult decisions became lessons she could learn without paying the same costly price. Inspired by those conversations, Olivia shifted her focus toward apartment communities rather than single-family homes. She realized that larger properties could provide greater efficiency, stronger cash flow, and better long-term scalability. The dream was no longer owning a few rentals. It was creating thriving communities where families wanted to live. Months of research led Olivia to a small 12-unit apartment building in an improving neighborhood. While many investors overlooked it because of cosmetic issues, she recognized solid construction, strong rental demand, and significant potential for renovation. Once again, opportunity hid behind appearances. Before submitting an offer, Olivia spent days reviewing inspection reports, financial statements, utility expenses, occupancy history, and neighborhood development plans. Every decision was supported by careful research rather than emotion. She had learned that confidence comes from preparation, not from taking unnecessary risks. After weeks of negotiations, the seller accepted Olivia's offer. Holding the keys to her first apartment building felt completely different from buying the duplex years earlier. She wasn't chasing a dream anymore. She was steadily building a business supported by knowledge, discipline, and countless well-informed decisions. Standing outside the 12-unit building at sunset, Olivia looked across the renovated neighborhood with quiet gratitude. Her journey had started with only $5,000, a notebook full of goals, and the willingness to begin. Now, each investment was creating momentum towards something far greater than she had ever imagined. The 12-unit apartment building quickly became Olivia's greatest classroom. Managing multiple tenants, coordinating maintenance schedules, balancing operating expenses, and overseeing renovations required stronger leadership than ever before. Every challenge strengthened her systems, proving that growth demanded not only larger investments, but also greater responsibility and better decision-making. Instead of making every decision herself, Olivia assembled a trusted team. She partnered with experienced contractors, an accountant, a real estate attorney, a property manager, and a reliable lender. Together, they built efficient processes that allowed every property to operate smoothly while maintaining high standards for residents. As rental income increased, banks began viewing Olivia differently. Strong financial records, consistent cash flow, and responsible management opened doors to better financing opportunities. She realized that credibility wasn't earned through promises. It was earned through years of delivering reliable results and honoring every financial commitment. One afternoon, Olivia toured a 24-unit apartment community that many investors had overlooked. The buildings appeared outdated, but the neighborhood was growing rapidly with new schools, businesses, and public parks. Looking beyond today's appearance, she recognized tomorrow's opportunity hidden in plain sight. Before making another purchase, Olivia spent weeks analyzing market trends, employment growth, rental demand, construction permits, and future development plans. She compared every scenario carefully, knowing that successful investing meant protecting downside risk while positioning herself for long-term appreciation and stable cash flow. After careful negotiations, Olivia completed the acquisition. Walking through the apartment community with renovation plans in hand, she envisioned clean hallways, modern interiors, beautiful landscaping, and families proudly calling the property home. She wasn't simply buying buildings, she was investing in places where people could build better lives. Renovation crews worked together with remarkable precision. Roofs were repaired, apartments modernized, parking lots resurfaced, lighting upgraded, and gardens beautifully landscaped. Olivia visited the property every day, ensuring every improvement met high standards. She believed quality attracted quality, and exceptional housing created lasting value for everyone involved. Within months, vacancies declined dramatically as word spread about the transformed community. Families appreciated the clean environment, responsive management, and safe neighborhood. Residents greeted one another in shared outdoor spaces, children played in renovated courtyards, and the apartment community developed a welcoming atmosphere filled with pride and stability. Reviewing her financial statements one evening, Olivia noticed something remarkable. Rental income from multiple apartment communities was now generating far more than her full-time salary ever had. Yet, instead of quitting immediately, she remained disciplined, ensuring every investment remained financially stable before making life-changing decisions. Standing on the balcony of one of her renovated apartment buildings during a golden sunset, Olivia looked across dozens of occupied homes, filled with families beginning new chapters of their lives. She smiled quietly, remembering the first $5,000 she had saved years earlier. That modest beginning had grown into something far greater than money. It had become a lasting legacy built through patience, education, and unwavering consistency. At 32, Olivia officially transitioned from employee to full-time real estate investor. Leaving her steady job felt both exciting and intimidating, but years of careful planning had prepared her for the moment. Her rental income consistently exceeded her living expenses, giving her the freedom to focus entirely on growing her portfolio responsibly. Instead of celebrating financial independence with luxury purchases, Olivia invested in education and technology. She upgraded property management software, attended industry conferences, and studied apartment operations from experienced owners. She believed the greatest investment wasn't another building. It was continually improving her knowledge and decision-making abilities. During an economic slowdown, many investors became fearful and stopped buying properties. Olivia remained calm. Strong cash reserves, conservative financing, and years of disciplined management allowed her to view uncertainty differently. While others focused on risk alone, she carefully searched for opportunities that still met her strict investment criteria. One opportunity appeared when an aging 30-unit apartment complex entered the market below comparable prices. Deferred maintenance discouraged many buyers, but Olivia recognized solid construction, excellent location, and stable long-term demand. She knew that thoughtful renovations could unlock value others failed to notice. Before making an offer, Olivia spent weeks inspecting every building, reviewing maintenance records, analyzing historical occupancy, and estimating renovation costs. She consulted engineers, contractors, accountants, and lenders before reaching a decision. Every successful purchase, she believed, should begin with careful preparation rather than optimistic assumptions. After completing the purchase, Olivia launched a comprehensive renovation plan. New roofs, modern kitchens, updated flooring, energy-efficient lighting, fresh landscaping, and improved security transformed the aging complex. Residents appreciated the improvements, and many proudly recommended the community to friends and family searching for quality housing. Occupancy climbed steadily as renovated apartments attracted responsible long-term tenants. Maintenance requests declined because quality materials reduced future repairs. Olivia realized that investing in durable improvements often saved money over time while creating better living experiences for residents. Quality wasn't an expense, it was a long-term investment. As her reputation grew, brokers began contacting Olivia before properties reached the public market. They knew she closed transactions professionally, honored commitments, and treated sellers fairly. Opportunities increasingly arrived through relationships she had patiently built over years of honesty, consistency, and dependable business practices. Looking across her expanding portfolio, Olivia noticed a remarkable transformation. She no longer measured success by the number of buildings she owned. Instead, she measured it by well-maintained communities, satisfied residents, reliable employees, and a business capable of creating value for everyone involved. Standing on the rooftop of her newest apartment building during a brilliant sunrise, Olivia reviewed her portfolio map. More than 60 apartment units were now operating successfully across multiple communities. Holding the notebook that once contained her $5,000 savings goal, she smiled quietly. The first milestone had seemed impossible until she achieved it. By her mid-30s, Olivia's portfolio had grown beyond 60 apartment units. Yet, every morning still began the same way, with coffee, financial reports, maintenance updates, and handwritten notes. She refused to let success replace discipline. The habits that built her business remained the habits that protected it. One afternoon, Olivia toured a 40-unit apartment community in a rapidly growing suburb. New schools, expanding employers, and improved infrastructure surrounded the property. While the buildings needed cosmetic upgrades, the neighborhood's future looked exceptionally bright. She recognized another opportunity where others only saw renovation costs. Rather than rushing into negotiations, Olivia spent nearly a month studying every detail. She reviewed local employment data, rental demand, occupancy trends, future developments, utility costs, and competing apartment communities. Every investment had to strengthen the entire portfolio, not simply increase the number of units she owned. After completing months of research, Olivia confidently submitted an offer supported by careful financial analysis. The seller appreciated her professionalism and transparent communication throughout the negotiation process. When both parties finally reached an agreement, Olivia knew another carefully chosen opportunity had become part of her long-term vision. Renovations focused on improving residents' daily lives rather than creating luxury. Safe playgrounds, brighter walkways, modern laundry facilities, updated landscaping, fresh exterior paint, and energy-efficient lighting transformed the community. Olivia believed thoughtful improvements could increase both property value and the happiness of the people living there. As the apartment community improved, longtime residents noticed the difference. Families gathered outside during evenings, children played safely together, neighbors introduced themselves to one another, and local businesses welcomed new customers. Olivia smiled as she realized her investments were helping entire neighborhoods become stronger and more connected. With nearly 100 apartment units now under management, Olivia focused heavily on leadership. Weekly meetings encouraged open communication among property managers, maintenance teams, leasing specialists, and contractors. She believed great businesses weren't built by one person. They were built by teams united around shared values and consistent service. One of Olivia's newest employees asked what her greatest investment had been. Expecting to hear about a building, he was surprised when she answered, "Education." She explained that books, mentors, mistakes, and experience had consistently delivered greater returns than any single property she had ever purchased. Reviewing old photographs one evening, Olivia paused at a picture of herself standing nervously beside her first duplex. She smiled at how ordinary the moment had seemed back then. Looking back, she realized that extraordinary futures often begin with decisions that feel surprisingly small in the present. Standing atop one of her largest apartment buildings during a glowing sunset, Olivia looked across neighborhoods she had helped transform over the years. Her portfolio was approaching 100 apartment units. The goal no longer felt impossible. It simply felt like the next natural result of years spent making disciplined decisions every single day. At 36, Olivia's portfolio surpassed 100 apartment units for the first time. Instead of celebrating with extravagance, she quietly reviewed maintenance schedules, financial reports, and resident satisfaction surveys. She understood that reaching 100 units wasn't the finish line. It simply meant greater responsibility to the people who called her properties home. As her company expanded, Olivia invested heavily in her team. Property managers attended leadership workshops, maintenance technicians received advanced certifications, and leasing specialists learned better communication skills. She believed exceptional people created exceptional communities, and empowering employees was one of the smartest investments she could ever make. One morning, Olivia visited several apartment communities without announcing her arrival. She greeted residents, inspected landscaping, checked common areas, and personally listened to suggestions. Small conversations often revealed valuable improvements. Success, she believed, came from staying connected to the everyday experiences of the people she served. During an industry conference, Olivia shared her journey with aspiring investors. Instead of discussing impressive numbers, she spoke about budgeting, delayed gratification, patience, and learning from mistakes. Many attendees expected secret investment strategies, but she reminded them that consistency was usually the greatest competitive advantage. Later that year, Olivia discovered another promising apartment community. Although the buildings required modernization, the neighborhood featured expanding employers, highly rated schools, new parks, and increasing rental demand. Years of experience allowed her to recognize strong fundamentals before they became obvious to everyone else. Weeks of inspections, negotiations, and financial analysis followed. Engineers evaluated the buildings, accountants reviewed operating statements, lenders finalized financing, and attorneys completed legal documents. Olivia refused to skip any step. Every successful acquisition reflected preparation, discipline, and thoughtful decision-making rather than luck. Renovation work transformed the community from outdated to welcoming. Bright exterior paint, renovated apartment interiors, energy-efficient appliances, landscaped courtyards, playground improvements, and upgraded security systems created an environment where residents felt proud to live. Every improvement strengthened both the investment and the surrounding neighborhood. As occupancy reached record levels, Olivia noticed something even more meaningful. Families renewed their leases, neighbors organized community gatherings, children played safely outdoors, and local businesses flourished nearby. Her apartment communities had become places where people built lasting friendships, stable lives, and brighter futures together. Reviewing her portfolio map one quiet evening, Olivia counted 120 apartment units spread across multiple thriving communities. She closed her eyes for a moment, remembering the tiny apartment where she once struggled to save her first $5,000. The distance between those two moments had been built one disciplined decision at a time. Standing on the rooftop of her newest apartment community as the sun dipped below the horizon, Olivia looked across hundreds of illuminated windows where families were sharing dinners, helping children with homework, and creating memories. She smiled softly, realizing her greatest accomplishment wasn't owning 120 apartments. It was helping create places people were proud to call home. News of Olivia's success spread throughout the local real estate community. Journalists, investors, and entrepreneurs wanted to know how someone who started with only $5,000 had built a portfolio of 120 apartment units. Olivia always gave the same answer. There wasn't one big breakthrough, only thousands of small, disciplined decisions. One afternoon, Olivia visited the modest duplex that had started everything. The exterior looked completely different now, with fresh paint, colorful flowers, mature trees, and well-maintained landscaping. She gently touched the front door, remembering the uncertainty she felt years earlier when she first unlocked it with trembling hands. Walking through the neighborhood, longtime residents recognized Olivia and thanked her for investing in the community. Nearby homes had been renovated, local businesses had expanded, and property values had steadily improved. She realized that responsible investing could strengthen not only individual properties, but entire neighborhoods for generations. Olivia accepted an invitation to speak at a national real estate conference. Standing before thousands of aspiring investors, she shared practical lessons instead of dramatic success stories. She explained how budgeting, patience, education, and consistent reinvestment had quietly created opportunities that once seemed completely impossible. After the presentation, a young woman approached Olivia and admitted she had saved exactly $5,000 but was afraid to begin investing. Olivia smiled warmly and replied, "I was once standing exactly where you are today. Confidence comes after taking the first responsible step, not before." Inspired by her own journey, Olivia launched a mentorship program for first-time investors. Every month, she taught budgeting, property analysis, financing basics, tenant management, and long-term planning. Watching others purchase their first rental properties became just as rewarding as expanding her own portfolio had once been. One evening, Olivia reviewed photographs documenting every stage of her journey. There were pictures of peeling paint, empty apartments, renovation crews, tenant move-ins, community events, and thriving neighborhoods. Looking at them together, she realized success wasn't built during exciting moments. It was built during ordinary days when she chose not to quit. Standing inside one of her newest apartment communities, Olivia watched children laughing on a renovated playground while neighbors greeted one another outside. Maintenance teams cared for the landscaping, families enjoyed peaceful evenings, and local businesses thrived nearby. She smiled, realizing she had built much more than apartment buildings. She had helped create communities. That night, Olivia opened the notebook she had started years earlier. The very first page still read, "Save $5,000. Beneath it were hundreds of handwritten goals, lessons, financial plans, and reflections. She gently closed the journal, grateful that one simple goal had completely transformed the direction of her life. Standing atop a scenic overlook at sunset, Olivia gazed across the skyline, where many of her apartment communities quietly blended into thriving neighborhoods below. She didn't see buildings, she saw thousands of lives unfolding inside them. The greatest reward wasn't the number 120. It was knowing her work had created lasting opportunities for countless families. Olivia returned to the small apartment where her journey had begun. The room was modest, almost unchanged, but everything felt different. Standing by the same window where she once planned her future, she smiled quietly. The space hadn't changed her life. Her decisions inside it had. She opened an old storage box filled with receipts, renovation sketches, handwritten budgets, and photographs from her first duplex. Every worn page reminded her of late nights, difficult choices, and small victories. Success hadn't arrived in one dramatic moment. It had been built one ordinary day after another. A documentary crew asked Olivia what the biggest turning point in her career had been. They expected her to mention buying a large apartment complex. Instead, she answered, "Saving my first $5,000 taught me discipline. Everything else simply grew from that habit." Later that week, Olivia visited one of her apartment communities during a neighborhood celebration. Families shared meals, children laughed together, musicians performed, and local businesses welcomed visitors. Watching residents create memories reminded her that real estate wasn't only about buildings. It was about creating places where people truly belonged. One afternoon, Olivia quietly met with her leadership team. Instead of discussing rapid expansion, they focused on improving resident experiences, preventive maintenance, employee development, and long-term sustainability. Olivia believed a business should continue growing stronger, not simply growing larger. As evening approached, Olivia stood on the rooftop of one of her apartment buildings overlooking the city skyline. Hundreds of lights slowly illuminated the neighborhoods below. Each glowing window represented a family, a student, a retiree, or a young couple building their future. That realization meant more than any financial milestone. Before leaving the rooftop, Olivia looked at the original brass key from her first duplex. It had become more than a key. It represented courage, discipline, patience, and the willingness to begin before everything felt certain. She slipped it back into her pocket with quiet gratitude. The following morning, Olivia welcomed a new group of aspiring investors to one of her educational workshops. Looking around the room, she saw the same mixture of excitement and uncertainty she once carried herself. She smiled, knowing that someone's future success story might begin in that very room. As the workshop concluded, Olivia shared one final message. Don't wait until you feel fearless. Learn continuously, prepare carefully, and take responsible action. Progress doesn't come from perfection. It comes from consistently moving forward, even when the first step feels small. The room filled with thoughtful silence before warm applause followed. She didn't start with millions. She started with $5,000. Years later, she owned 120 apartment units. The difference wasn't luck. It was the discipline to keep moving forward, one smart decision at a time. Your future could begin with the choice you make today.